Why Israel for the brain research?
Well, if you don't have land, better have brain. What can I say? But I want to say about Israel two things. We have his history and we have had a dream. Our history is difficult. We suffered a great deal. We suffered not because other people were unjust, but because we were disagreeing. If I'm asking myself what is the greatest contribution of the Jewish people to the rest of the world, I would say dissatisfaction. A good Jew cannot be satisfied. It's contrary to his own DNA. He cannot be satisfied because he wants a better world, a better situation. So all the time he's revolutionizing, fighting, searching, changing, innovating. So we have it in our DNA. We can't get rid of it. Our dream was to return to our...
Is it a genetic disorder?
Pardon?
Is it a genetic disorder?
No, it's a genetic preference in my judgment. You know, if everybody will be satisfied, the world will die from boredom. I mean, we have to fight for something. We have to be for something. What are we going to do? Lay on the shores all your life? The second is our dream. We lost our land. We wanted to return to our land and to cultivate it with our own hands. We came to the land. The land is holy but disappointing. It was full of swamps, of desert, unfriendly, dry, without water, practically no water. We have one river very famous, the Jordan River, which is richer in history than in water. It's a river for visitors, not for irrigation. We have two lakes, one dead, the other is dying. So we wanted to cultivate the land, but the wind was refusing. So we have had to look for an alternative. That forces all the kibbutzim and the moshavim and all the farmers to become scientists. Today agriculture is based on high tech, and they have the best agriculture on earth with little land and little water. We grow fish almost without water. And the second reason, not less important, we thought we shall come, develop the land, and we shall meet friendly neighbors. Instead, we met hostility from all over the sides. We were attacked. We were without arms, without an army. There was a danger to our life. So this was an uninvited must. The choice was difficult, and the must couldn't be ignored. So we have had to defend our lives. Being outmanned, out-armed, we have to develop a military technology. Right away, if our farmers became scientists and technologists, so our soldiers likewise. They went to technology, and Israel could achieve a way to survive only by having what a supremacy in quality, not in quantity. The high-tech of Israel started with these two. The dream we wanted, the situation that forced us. The high-tech started in the army and started by the farmers. To this very day, the high-tech in Israel is very much a result of those two efforts. And let me say something else. I wouldn't suggest to have an army if you don't have a danger. But if you have a danger and you have an army, you will learn that the army is a great school for managers, for initiators, for courage, and for taking risk. So we won from the must, and we won from the shortage. And we were lucky to be short of, and we were lucky to be urgent. That's the reason why Israel became very quick from having nothing to being a first-class high-tech country.
So what we see today actually is just another manifestation of something which is both in our culture, in our surrounding, in our needs. Before we finish, unfortunately we have to finish very soon, I would like to conclude with the following question. You have here in front of you some of the brightest minds in Israel and some of the brightest minds in the world. All of them are engaged in high tech. You have a very profound view about the role of these people outside of their business activity. What you think is their role outside of the business activity in the general scheme of things?
May I say I don't trust you? Why? Because people suppose that you're looking for money and only profit. It's not the true story. I think you, like anybody else, has dreams for the human being, for yourself, for your families, and for your nations. And so in a strange way, the high-tech that's supposed to be oriented on making money and making profits became a social force. They changed our life, and let me enumerate very quickly why and where. The first thing that high-tech did, the technology did actually, is something that no other force was able to do. It brought an end to racism. You cannot be global and racist. Forget it. Finished. And you know all your companies are multinational. Secondly, you cannot use power. Because if you use power, powerful governments will stop you. So you use only goodwill or good understandings. You know, you have to develop your markets. You don't do it just by having a good product. You have to develop good relations. And so the companies, out of their own free choice, started to give back money to the communities. Some of them gave all the money, like Gates and Buffett and others. And wherever you go, in every country, you have and you are showing an interest to the people. As a matter of fact, if the government has a high voice, you have tender ears. You are listening to the people. They're saying the customer is right. By the way, customer is a human being, if I'm not wrong. So you are attending to them. And you are reaching niveaus of understanding which is unbelievable. I heard some companies yesterday, for example, the idea of IBM, how do they develop the relationship with their customers. It's more humane than business. Or the ABI, all of you. And without knowing it, you're becoming social leaders. You have to advance the business. Then a third point, since science cannot be checked and controlled, you introduce transparency and trust. When a scientist goes to the customs, who can check what he has in his brain? If you tell about your company, who can check if it's 20 nanometers or 30 nanometers? It's all based very much. You cannot predict, you cannot measure, you cannot indicate. You have to trust and imagine. And if somebody doesn't do it, is being expelled from the company. You must be truthful more than any other organization. And then you don't want to appear in the eyes of the people as profiteering from poor people. You don't want to have a situation where you have upper Wall Street and lower Wall Street. If this will be the case, the lower Wall Street will destroy the upper Wall Street. So you have to be very, very sensitive to what's happening in the society. Don't call it socialism, don't call it any name, it's a news story. And the next point is you have to divorce the past and you have to live on tomorrow. You know, people say you have to study the past so you won't repeat the mistakes of the past. I don't think it's a wise saying. Suppose you will make new mistakes. Are new mistakes better than old mistakes? Why study those mistakes? But the whole history is an ongoing mistake. We just completed 10,000 years of the agricultural era. And in the last 20 years, we achieved in agriculture more in the 10,000 years before it. I'm a graduate of an agricultural school. Believe me, whatever I learned is no longer relevant to agriculture, finished. So why study the past? And the future is not what will happen tomorrow, but to discover what exists today. You discover secrets. What is discovering? All things existed, either in the brain or in the air or on the land. And for that reason, I think you have to give the young people the young ideas, the new approaches, a fair chance. You know, President Obama asked me if I have any advice for him. I said, yes. He says, what is it? I said, if somebody will come to you and tell you that the future belongs to the young people, throw him out of the room. He said, why? I told him, because the presence belongs to the young people. The future leaves to people like me. I have time. You don't have time. And now what I suggested, this will be understood. I suggested to most of the important leaders in business and governments to create a parallel organization to the OECD of the global companies. They won't be under the order of anybody, like a group of advice and consent that will meet, say, with the European leadership or with the OECD and have a dialogue. The politicians will tell you where it's burning, and they'll ask you, can you help us to extinguish the fire? You will advise the politicians how to develop high tech for their own wish. And this will be a second arm of our new life. The army without arms, the strength without power, the orientation on tomorrow instead of being so satisfied with the wrong past. So this is my concept altogether. And I ask the leaders of companies to join in willingly to this organization. It will not be binding. Everything will be free. It will be flying gathering, dialogue. With many of you, I spoke already, and until now I didn't encounter anybody who said no. On the contrary, and people said, it's time, it's rightly. So the world I foresee is governments for husbandry, high tech for growth, and brain for making the right choice. Because if Eve in the paradise wouldn't eat the apple, the den apple, and wouldn't go after the snake, maybe we would remain in the paradise to this very day. Once she did it, she lost the capacity to distinguish between right and wrong. The brain is the greatest promise that we shall be able to make this essential choice for us and our children.
Ladies and gentlemen, the President of Israel, Shimon Peres. Thank you very much.
Ladies and gentlemen, for the departure of the President of the State of Israel, please stand up till the final departure. Thank you so much for being so cooperative.